Just a second, guys. These aren't quite perfectly synced. I gotta wait for them both to go live before I start yapping. Okay, so the truth about everything has returned. I have returned. I'm feeling pretty invigorated after a tremendously difficult 6-8 months. I'm terrible at keeping track of time. Let me know about the audio too. I've been having problems all day. Every time I get the computer fixed, there's just all kinds of settings go awry. And so, yeah, we're getting back into what we do best, which is metaphysics and the occult and alchemy and all of these things. And I think that I am going to be of better service to my audience from here on out, because there is sort of another dimension to my being. I have been humbled in so many different ways. I have been alerted to parts of my being that I was not aware of. I have learned that the world has moved on in a lot of ways while I was sequestered in the jungles and the mountains and even Northern California, you know. It occurred to me that my old outlaw spider senses have not really been needed very much for 10 years, and my street smarts have not been very necessary for 20 years. And so it's like your self-perception is sort of static, and there are a lot of dynamics that can fluctuate without your awareness. And so what all of this has sort of compelled me to realize, are there really no viewers? Why does it say no data? Is there anybody there? Can somebody, oh, I think I know maybe what's happening. You guys let me know if you're actually there, if this is working, because, okay, I see 4 viewers there. I'm just really confused as to why it's, okay, excellent connection. All right, good. All right, so we're fine. So obviously, you know, my, my response to all this is to think, okay, like, what is it that has happened? What can I do about it? And after, you know, the split with my partner, obviously there was a whole lot of introspection, and I had already really, you know, taken stock of a lot of things, you know, that I was acutely aware needed to be adjusted, and I had started taking steps to do that. But, you know, the universe basically alerted me to the fact that, you know, there is a lot more to be done, and we are in a global crisis. We are in the midst of a global chaostrophe, the likes of which have never been seen before in human history, and it is no time to be slumbering. You know, I really have a hard time believing there's only one person in this chat. Maybe I just shouldn't look at it, because that's just, there we go. That's a better number. Anyways, yeah, so, you know, it really hit me that I have become kind of lazy over the years. I think you feel like you have reached a certain level of attainment and you become complacent. You know, I also hit 40 and had a child at the same time. So it's like a lot of my drive and determination, I think I didn't really realize that it had become sapped. And so I have a plan, and I also have an invitation. And don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just genuinely think this will be cool. And, you know, it's true that the results of it will give me some, so you're like, what is it, like a test marketing pool or something? I don't know. I mean, you know, there is an agenda, because if our results are good, then it'll help me later, sure. But not trying to sign you guys up for a program or anything like that. But I am building a regimen that is intended to sort of maximize potential on every level as quickly as possible. And, you know, this is something I admit I should have been doing all these years, and I have to some extent. You know, I'm not saying that I haven't been using any of the information or knowledge or techniques or any of the stuff. Of course I have. But I just have realized that this is a time where we have to maximize all this stuff absolutely. And I've fallen out of that habit, I guess. I think, to be really perfectly honest about it, when my music dreams I believed had failed, I kind of didn't care enough to really be fully committed anymore, and the fact that I could still help people and teach people and succeed at a lot of things, you become complacent. And so I'm not in that place now. So basically what I'm doing is almost starting over with, when you're a probationer in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, or I don't know, the OTO I think has similar protocol. I think all of these Hermetic and mystery tradition type organizations kind of have the same protocol. But lesser banishing ritual in the morning, invoking, so you're drawing the forces that you need in your universe and that you will tolerate, and then at night banishing the stuff that you have accumulated that doesn't serve you. And I was really thinking about the fourfold breath today, and the utility of it, and the importance of really consciously understanding every single aspect of what you're doing throughout ritual. I think that once I became efficacious at these rituals, I sort of became lazy about really fully focusing on every element and having some kind of at least subconscious awareness of like why these things are as they are. And so, for example, the fourfold breath, when you are beginning the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, you are basically becoming the Godhead, right? So your circle first determines your universe. This is your microcosm. You are the God of this circle, and then you're performing this fourfold breath, right? But 4 is the number of stability, and 4 is also a cube. And if you have studied your mystery traditions, as all of you should have, you know that the cross really is an exploded cube. And so this idea of becoming a microcosm, beginning with this cubical breath before you explode open and expand to integrate with Godhead, basically, right? You're expanding and becoming larger and larger and larger. The world is smaller and smaller below you until you're actually busting through the veil and you're merging with the atom cadmus, the macro prosopis, right? I mean, if you look at how these rituals are constructed down to the finest detail, it is extraordinarily brilliant. And almost to the extent, it's kind of like James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, where it's like a human couldn't really have consciously engineered this, It really, it's one of those kind of like your success will be your proof kind of examples, that this stuff is kind of coming from a deeper place. And we can see that actually throughout the world with all the traditions creating the circle, right? I don't care if you're a druid, a shaman about to serve ayahuasca, a Freemason, mystery school adept, whatever it is, you're making a circle first. You know what I mean? And the circle represents the same thing no matter where in the world you are, whether it's Borneo or, a temple in New York City. It's the circle first. And then what? So in the Hermetic tradition, we have this fourfold breath, right? And then we have a whole bunch of other 4s, right? All around the circle, the 4 archangels, the 4 elements, the 4 fundamental forces of physics that the universe is what? Stabilized by, right? I mean, this shit is wild. It really is. And by the way, if you analyze those 4 fundamental forces of physics, you'll see how they correlate to the directions and the emotions, or not emotions, but the aspects of being that we divide. But my point is that in all these traditions, you have this 4 direction acknowledgement. So immediately after the creation of your universe, what happens? You stabilize it by creating 4 points, right? And so what do you have now? A flat, dead plane. It's uninhabitable. You have a circle and you have a square, but you're missing something. It's not a triangle, it's a pyramid. And so with the introduction of consciousness and a point above, you have the 5th element, the quintessence, which a lot of people would call spirit, which is fine, but I think of it as light because we're in this dimension. In this dimension, the 5th element is light. And so what happens when you introduce this 5th element, the direction of up? Now we have a 3-dimensional habitable universe. that you can actually move and live and breathe in. And what do we have pictured at the top of the pyramid, the capstone? The eye, right? So this is the real shit, folks. You know, so these rituals are infinitely more powerful and fulfilling. And even, you know, I've always talked a lot about this, but oh, hold on, I can fix it. I know what happened. Yeah, that's so annoying, you guys. I'm sorry about the clipping. It's too bad, too, because I've really been on a roll so far tonight. And you know, it started in our sacred. I know I can fix this while we're live. There it is. Yep. Okay, let me check one more spot, make sure that got it. Yeah. Okay, so it should be good now, right? Let me know. Let me know. Oh no, I froze. That means that. Shit. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so. Okay, so we should be. Oh no, so Reaper crashed too? Son of a bitch. Just a minute, guys. I can fix this, I think. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, we should be. Are we not good? We were good. Okay, we're good, right? No more clipping? All right, so where was I? That was a point that I needed to stay connected to in order to continue this well. Okay, right on. Sorry about that, guys. That clipping sucks, dude. I hate that. But if you listen to it on like 1 1/4, I think it goes away. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. We create our universe, but then we have to create stability, you know, consistency. And this is one area where I think I have always really struggled. But to continue on with our conceptual continuity, you know, once you understand the geometry and the symbolism of the numbers and the reasons why they all connect and why they are constructed along the ways they're constructed, then you have to look at the other elements and really dive deeply into the symbolism. You know, the archangels, even Aleister Crowley said this, the archangels are not real beings, okay? I did a stream where I was reading some of his Magic and Theory and Practice, and it actually shocked me, the stuff that he was saying about spirits and how, you know, he's like, they're not literally real. You know, and I'd never heard him say that point blank like that before. But he said when we talk about, like, you know, Nakiel in the sun, we're talking about a certain aspect of consciousness and the things that it, you know, represents, and it is a tool for us to organize information and allow us to relate to certain aspects of the universal mind and whatnot. But nevertheless, you know, it doesn't mean that it's not a sort of animated, energetic aspect of consciousness. It doesn't mean that the universe is dead and inert and there isn't some kind of intelligence integrated into the fabric of it. And what it means is that our conceptions of these things need to be more subtle. You know, they need to be more refined. If you are viewing something in the same way that people were, you know, 500 years ago, without any evolution, that doesn't make sense. You know, we are here because we do not totally understand the universe. And according to a lot of approximations, the moment we do understand the universe in its totality, it will cease to exist. So the fact that we are here at all means that we do not know everything. And so the point that I'm getting at, though, is that when you are once you have that foundation, to understand why, Raphael's robe is, blue and Michael is red, and what symbols are on their lamen, and why. And why is that, healing of Raphael in the direction of Tetragrammaton, and why is fire and creativity and sexuality and Michael and the East, like what you have to make sure that you really understand the totality of the symbolism in the entire ritual as you're going through and defining your universe. And so part of what I'm getting at here is that it is a tremendous amount of work at first. It really is. If you're going to do these things properly and really get the full benefit from them that you need or that you want, you really have to go through and tediously construct these models and connect with them on conscious and subconscious levels in order to really get the most of it. And if you do this, however, if you just think about the power that comes from engineering your entire experience, your entire universe consciously every single morning for an entire year, I mean, the benefit of that, even if you do not believe in magic and think that the universe is dead and inert and that consciousness doesn't leave the body or whatever, you probably still can understand how it is that this process can be so powerful. And then at the end of every day, ridding yourself of everything that plagues you. I saw an amazing clip of South Park today, where what's going on in Luminostic Life, where Stan had gone to an AA meeting, and he was basically saying what I always thought, like alcoholism is not a disease, cancer is a disease. If this, they would always say, in NA, I actually had to go through because of parole, and they would say, if you work it, it works, and then they would go around and talk, and everybody's like, this is my 9th time through the program and my 7th time through prison, and I'm like, what exactly is your definition of working? Like, how, at what point does this work? Like, what do you mean exactly? What I'm getting at here is that if you are constantly, every single morning, constructing your universe in a way that it's not the same as just sitting down and praying or meditating or making a declaration of will, you are integrating living symbols on the astral plane of the subconscious mind with your being. And these things carry with them a tremendous amount of power. There is a collective psyche, and the fact that very powerful conscious beings have been using these rituals to create themselves and to create the world around them for thousands of fucking years has given these symbols and processes a tremendous amount of fucking power. So, and that is also part of the duty of the initiate, is to reinforce and to add to these things and also to build upon the rituals, right? One of the really controversial things that Crowley suggested is that you don't leave them as they were when you found them. And this is a big misconception about shamanism. People seem to think that, whatever the Shipibo, and I'm not knocking their tradition. I'm not saying it's the best or it's not the best. I'm just saying that, there becomes a perception that there's a standardized protocol, and then things become stagnant because people, all about herd conformity, right? And that's not how shamanism is supposed to be. And that's not how magic is. The Western mystery tradition, by the way, is a tradition of shamanism. Freemasons, 33rd degree Masons, are still buried with acacia leaves that contain DMT. So the point is that all of these things are supposed to be personalized and adapted, and they're supposed to evolve collectively and be passed on. So, for example, when Aleister Crowley got the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram passed down to him in his lineage, he added certain things to it. And then once it got passed down to me, I added things to it, and that's how this is actually supposed to go. And what you have to do is learn it as it originally was, right? The form, just like when you're learning a song, if you're a musician, you learn it exactly as it is, then you start improvising to make it your own. The same thing should happen with your ritual work, but you have to start out following, just as in shamanism, you follow the hands of the maestro to a certain point. And then once you really know the territory, then you can start to personalize your practice in your universe. I feel like I got derailed. Let me check in with the chat and see. Question. If I forget to do the LBRP ritual in the morning, yeah, of course. It doesn't matter. It's not like there's some like being that's gonna like be mad at you. And I mean, the universe is mental, right? So fundamentally, the most important thing to remember is that you are engineering your own consciousness. You are defining your own being, in accordance with whatever your perception of your highest self is, So there's no superstitious consequences to things in my world, It's just, I don't see how you can forget, though. You can't really forget, And the most important thing is that you're not going through the motions, Don't just go through the motions. In fact, I forgot to mention, we're going to start doing voice chats with groups in the Discord, because I think that's way more interesting than, I'm still going to do the secret streams. But I think when we start like going through the Masonic degrees and stuff, it would be a lot better if there was like a question and answer thing happening, if there was some like interactive dynamic going on. At Athena's almost insistence, she's become sort of like a manager almost, kind of telling me what to do sometimes even. Which is great, it's really great. By the way, I wanted to mention to hit the like button, share, subscribe, support me on Patreon or one of the options in the chat. If I go broke, it's game over for this channel, so you gotta support the struggling magician, which is not going to be the case, man, for long. I mean, I'm just so determined that after all of this difficulty and troubled waters, there's just nowhere to go but up. I'm absolutely determined that is the only possibility that I will accept. And the lesson of alchemy throughout all this, it really is true that the magician has an inexhaustible resource of any type of energy that he might need to do his work. And any energy can be transformed into any other type of energy. This is why ritual sacrifice is pointless. It doesn't make any sense. Any energy can be transformed into any other energy. And so there's that. And in order to attract the proper type of energy, the magician must make himself a fit receptacle for it, right? You can't... Yeah, I mean, you must make yourself a fit receptacle. And what I was saying about alchemy is that it's absolutely true that these negative energies are literally the resource for positive energies. This is one of the big secrets of the occult. And, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, if you really pay attention and look back through the records of the adepts over the last 100 years, the consensus is that the time for secrecy is over. So there are no more oaths. There's no more secrecy. I mean, there is if you go and become a Freemason and you promise not to talk. That's why I left the lodge, because I wanted to talk. This is the kind of knowledge that is the birthright of humanity, and it is absolutely essential. So at any rate, I don't want to get too off track, but the transmutation of lead into gold, the negrito, the blackening process, it is exactly the pain of loss that has given me an emotional dimension that I lacked previously. And even though the way that a lot of that emotional damage happened could be really emasculating and destroy self-esteem, instead it had the effect of strengthening character and defining self and removing limitations and barriers. And part of that is a matter of the personal choice about how to react to it. For sure. But the reality is that without that negative energy to transmutate into positive energy, it just wouldn't have happened, right? So it's a difficult lesson and it's a difficult thing to accept. And what I was talking about regarding the secrets, this is one that people hate. Nobody likes to hear this because it has overtones, undertones, all around the tones that are very difficult to accept. And I'm tired of this light, so. That's better. It's very difficult to accept. But opposites in this dualistic universe create each other. And there's no way around it. There's absolutely no way around it. So you have to accept it. And then what happens is that instead of having fear, you have even enthusiasm for the reception of that which you fear. You know, you welcome both the blessings and the curses, the beauty and the horror, the comedy and the tragedy, because you know that they are expanding your ability, the parameters of your experience, and that is the only purpose that we have here. Be strong, then canst thou bear more joy. Enjoy all things of sense and rapture, and fear not that any God will deny thee for this. This is wisdom. This is wisdom. Self-denial is pathetic unless it actually strengthens, right? This is something I've really learned the hard way, you know. And then, you know, a lot of these lessons, I think, I was just discussing this particular aspect of all of this stuff with somebody a little while ago. Let me check in with the chat. I don't want to. Yeah, I know, big vibes tonight, man. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm coming back bigger and badder and bolder and more humble, but definitely more potent after all of this shit. Or otherwise, it's for naught, you know. So what are you going to do, you know? Transmutate. And anyways, I don't want you guys to believe me, you know? You have to, your success is your proof. So when I say that you must alchemize the lead of everyday experience and transmute it into gold, I have to demonstrate that. You know what I mean? Like, we want certainty, not faith. We place no reliance on virgin or pigeon. Our method is science. Our aim is religion. So, and by aim, I mean like that kind of aim, not that we aim to create one. Yeah, I hate that people pop on and I've got these sunglasses on looking all weird, but like, I just, you know, the lighting makes my skin look nice and orange, but it gets on my nerves and my eyeballs after a while. So, you know, still really quiet. Are you saying the sound is quiet? No, it's not. I can see right here. It's loud. Somebody else let me know. Is dude for real? Yeah, well, that secret stream, by the way, you guys joined the Patreon because we knocked it out of the park tonight, man. Jeff was there. He can tell you. It was wild, man. It was really wild. I was worried, you know. I felt like I'm limping back into being myself or something after what I've been through lately. But that's not really what's happened, you know. It's like I've just like tripped, did a roll and landed on my feet and just kept running. Okay, cool. Yeah, and so by the way, you guys, this is totally an open discussion, AMA, whatever. I mean, I'm down to answer your questions. Did you guys see this? Look at this. I don't know if you can see all the detail in that. No, well, yeah, it's a seed. In Cusco, the like Quechua women, I guess. So there's like the Tare too, but I guess this is Quechua. It's a fruit with seeds in it. And they carve them with all kinds of amazing intricacy. By the way, you guys, I gotta have the shades, I'm sorry. I went to the Temple of Luna the other day, which was wild. This shit is wild here. It's just so crazy. I actually found out that this thing I thought was a cliff because it's too big to be a ruin on the side of the mountain. When you go out on my porch and look, I thought it was a cliff. I was like, there's no way that's a ruin. It is a ruin. My landlord came today and I was like, what the hell is that up there? You know? And I thought if it is a building, it's got to be modern. And she's like, oh, it's a ruin. And I was like, shit. So the trail's 30 minutes away and there's no guards. There's no people there. I'll be there alone. No one goes there. It's like halfway up the entire mountain. and it's like 120 feet tall by 100 feet long or something. It's completely insane. So I think tomorrow or Saturday, no, I can't do it tomorrow. Saturday, I'll go up there. But then somebody told me today that there's a lesser known ruin here called the Temple of the Sun that's better than Machu Picchu. And hardly anyone knows about it, and they told me where it is. So it's gonna the problem. I need funding for this channel, really. So please do hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us on Patreon, and consider, you can send money to Zelle, PayPal, whatever. But I'm going. I don't care. I have to go see this. And I've never heard of it. But it was this woman that we went on a tour of some of the ruins together, the vitrified stone underground in the caverns and all this craziness. Yeah, she told me about it today, and she said it's not even far from here. So I just can't imagine what's out there. When you walk up my road, you can see like where there are storage units, sort of, where it's been bricked in, like 800 years ago. God knows what is in there. Someone is saying they've never been a person that can transmute anger and these other negative emotions. You have to find a venue for it, Once Maynard James Keenan from Tool actually said something really brilliant about this, because people were criticizing, why is the band so angry? Why do you guys sound so angry? And he's just kind of like, you don't know what catharsis is, or what? Like, what do you mean? And there's this Pantera line: the releasing of anger can better any medicine under the sun. Bones in traction, hands break to hone raw energy. Bold and disastrous, my ears can't hear what you say to me. But it's true that you just have to find a venue for it. You have to find an expression for it. The reality is that energy is just energy. And if you can find some kind of way to relate to it in a way that you can express something with it, then you can be done with it. That's something that being a musician is absolutely essential, I think, to every person. If you are not a musician, I think you are almost disabled or something. You know what I mean? There's an essential part of you that's missing. If you don't sing, at least, or play a drum, but I think it's much, much better to play an instrument like guitar or piano, and I'm not talking about a qualitative judgment based on sound or what you prefer. I'm talking about purely on a mechanistic flow state kind of basis, where you have, different functions. You have the harmony and melody in one hand, and you have the rhythm in the other hand. So you have to process all this information, all this different information simultaneously. And I think that really helps to, it's almost like your brain has to get into a transcendental state in order to deal with all the stuff that it's processing. And then if you can get to the point where you're fluid enough to improvise under those conditions, then you really have an opportunity to routinely get into a transcendental state without the inconvenience of having to trip for 6 hours or whatever. Not that you shouldn't also do that, but you know what I mean? So if you're a person that's had trouble transmuting these energies, I bet you're not a musician. So maybe you should pick up the guitar. Another thing is just meditation and breathing. People say sit with it, and I hate these kind of cliche, like spirituality industry kind of terms like that. Like every time someone says hold space, I seriously want to hit them with a frying pan. I don't know what it is. The same thing if someone says, do you want to enjoy a cookie? It's like I want to smack you with a manhole cover. Would I like a cookie, or I don't know. It's just weird pet peeves, but you know what I mean. That sort of white yuppie stuff, I guess, gets under my skin. I'm getting off track here. Yeah, well, I mean, that writing is also a potential, but I feel like everyone should do all of these things. Oh man, I might have offended some yoga pants people by saying that I don't like it when people say hold space or would you like to enjoy a cookie? Oh man, relax people. Shroom showed me I'm a bigger loser than I think. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? That's the point, man. That's the point. The psychedelics are going to shine a light where you're refusing to look. That's what you want them to do, you know? And then the thing is you have to respond to those things. If you can perceive that something isn't correct, that is an opportunity to fix it. You know what I mean? If you can see it, then you can do something about it or with it. That's just the facts. So, I mean, it's all about what you do with it, you know? Again, alchemy, you know? Alchemy is really the only process that you need to be aware of because it's the only thing that's happening in the universe. I mean, you guys that missed that secret stream and the Patreon today, you guys don't know what you're missing, man. I'm not going to go back in there and tell you this stuff because that's the whole point. The patrons are, you know, what are they paying me for if I do that? But, so yeah, but the alchemical process, you know, I mean, you just got to think about what happens in the universe. It's light, and frozen light. That's all that there is in the universe. Matter's light and a frozen wave. So the leading theory now, quantum loop theory, and it's the same in the Kabbalah. It's the Greeks thought the same thing. There's Syrian and Babylonian versions. Like the ancients all knew this, that the light descended into matter, and then the matter once again becomes light and returns. And so you as a sentient being are processing the same energies, the same light, undergoing the same process. So your light becomes darkness, and your darkness once again becomes light. And as a conscious being, as a incarnate God, your job is to decide the form that it takes. You know? And the writing on the walls, the signs, symbols, hints, and clues, leave no doubt. Show you the way in and the way out. The form it takes may be yours to choose. Sorry, Grateful Dead lyrics that I just had to try to remember. What's up, May? It's good to see all you guys, man. It's good to see. God damn that light, man. You know, I don't want to hide my eyes, but I'm gonna still keep talking about that. But it's good to be here with all this energy, you know, and in this community. I mean, the way people had my back this last week was fucking insane. It was crazy how fast that problem was just handled like it was nothing. I mean, and I'm not saying it was nothing, you know, for the people that did it. I'm just saying that you know, the way that it happened so quickly, it just really blew my mind. And then I went into the Discord today, I guess, and I saw the interactions between people in there, and I really felt bad for not spending more time in there for one thing, but it blew my mind that people have created such bonds, you know, around this community, and I didn't even know it. I mean, I know it, but I didn't know the extent of it until I went into the Discord today and started to realize, like, damn, man, this is really fucking meaningful for people, you know? It's wild. It's good, too. And then now the next step is that we need to really empower ourselves, you know? That's and I'm talking about, like, real-world, pragmatic, you know, that kind of level. That's the difficult part. But the thing is, it's only difficult to get it moving in the first place. Once there's momentum, it carries itself if it's done properly. You know, how's it go? Here's the formula to succeed at anything. And if there is failure, it is only proof that some part of the prerequisite has not been fulfilled. So what is it? Any change can be affected by the proper kind and degree of force to the proper object, to the proper medium, to the proper object. Any required change can be affected by the proper application of the proper kind and degree of force through the proper medium to the proper object. It's that simple, you know? And if you fuck up any of those steps, then you'll fail. But if you don't, then it's that simple. But yeah, the music thing, man, I really think that everyone needs to do it. You know, I don't think it's really an option to not be a musician. Yeah, well, singing is fine. I mean, it's, you know, I think that playing an instrument that requires ambidexterity is, you know, the best, but at least sing. All right, so you guys, you know, AMA, totally open, keep me going here. If you feed me stuff, I will, you know, I'm like the Carl Rifkin of Pippi, or what is it, Riffy Longstockings. If you just feed me the ideas, you know, I'll, Cal Rifkin Jr. I can't remember some of the other ones. That Casey Rocket was always his different riffers. How long has this stream been going? I'm only 45 minutes. So yeah, I guess back to the optimization thing, right? So for those of you that have just popped on, we were talking about, you know, how to really optimize ritual work in the beginning, particularly the LBRP. And then the middle pillar, I think, is essential as well, because, you know, so you go through the process of constructing your universe, your macrocosm, you know, with this detail of absolutely knowing what all the symbolism is there for and what the geometries are about and what the archangels really represent, all this stuff very thoroughly, right? So you engineer your experience and your being every single day in the morning. But then the middle pillar, and you should not do this until you have the LBRP down really fluid. But the point of the middle pillar is that, and this is another one that exists in the Hermetic tradition or the mystery tradition and also in the Andean tradition, although instead of pillars, they represent it with coca leaves, but it's the same thing. It's the same model, or it's two different models of the same thing, whatever. You know what I mean? So anyways, Jachin and Boaz, the two pillars of light and darkness, masculine, feminine, you know, however you want to think about it. And then the magician is in the middle of this, whether you like it or not, trying to harmonize these energies. And so after you have defined your universe in the morning, then you go through this process of formulating the divine light of Keter above your head. And then you draw this light down into your throat and you vibrate the God name that is associated with the throat chakra. And it's also interesting, by the way, that the center line of the Kabbalistic tree of life goes right down through the chakras. There's just 10 of them instead of however many chakras there are, 7. So Yod-He, Vav-He, Eloah, Veda'at. Da'at is the Sephirot on the tree of life that is not really there because it's knowledge, and knowledge is only relation. It's relative, so it's either not drawn on at all or it's like stenciled on very lightly because it's not a real thing. It's just a projection of all the other Sephirot. But anyways, so you formulate first this divine higher self, right? That's how I like to think about it. You imagine this ball of light above your head that is the crown of your existence. It is your highest self. It is the God that you answer to. It is the most full and complete and perfect manifestation of your highest potential in a little glowing bubble above your head. And then if you're a neophyte, you should be using your finger. But if you have a level of attainment higher than that, then you will be using a dagger. And you draw this white light down into the throat, and then you drag it, and that is to regulate your speech, right? So you're integrating this white light with your speech and your breath. And not only your speech, but the breath symbolizes your life force, right? So now back to the fourfold breath. Remember, the 4 is the number of stability, right? So when you are doing a fourfold breath where you're segmenting everything into perfect segments of 4, you are stabilizing your life force. The breath is symbolic of the life force. So that is another reason why the fourfold breath is deployed prior to these rituals to create that stability, just because I forgot to mention that when we were talking about the LBRP. And then you are drawing this light further down into the Tiferet, which you could also think of as the heart chakra, the solar plexus, the sun. The light that illuminates your life should be the heart. That is the sun. Everything should revolve around the heart. And people think that heart and mind are separate, but this is foolish. People also say that you should follow your heart. You should not. You should balance the pentagram. You know, everything revolves around the heart and the values of the heart, but all of the points of the pentagram have equal weight in the process. That's, I think, we're in one place where our spirituality, our sense of spirituality in the mainstream has gone seriously awry. Forget about the mind. You know what I mean? Just like follow your emotions and be a moron. I mean, it's not realistic. You know, you want to balance all these things, and that's another point of the middle pillar. So, you know, the point in the middle pillar is that you are integrating this divine higher self knowledge with your emotions to regulate them now. So you have formulated Keter, you have a clear idea of what your higher self is, and then you're drawing that down to regulate your breath and your words so that you do not profane the air with, impure speech. And it's regulated with, your absolute highest potential, and then your emotions as well. And then now you're descending further to the root chakra, or the sexual. In the Hebrew tradition, it would be Yesod. And so now you are integrating this divine higher self knowledge, your highest self perfected into your sexuality, your creativity, all of the things that are connected to that energy. And then you're drawing this white light down into your feet so that your steps are guided by this divine white light. And so if you, hold on, I got to take this off, man. It's like literally sheep wool. It's thick and hot. And I have no water right now because they ripped the pipes out in the street, so I can't shower. So if I get sweaty, I'm just stuck like that. I literally have to heat water on a stove and like pour cups of it over my head in order to take a it's been like off and on for like the entire time I've been here. Anyways, so yeah, if you start with the LBRP in the morning and you follow this whole course, like earlier I started ranting about how, AA and NA, like, they try to just impose these kind of restrictions and habits on themselves out of nowhere. This method of engineering your being is going to be tremendously more effective. And then once you're ready, and this is something that I had a serious falling out with the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Stellium Matutina lineage, over, because I knew that they were wrong. And they were basically saying that only left-hand path lodges use psychedelics in combination with magic. And I'm like, okay, so you're telling me every curandero in South America, every shaman is left-hand path? Like, what are you talking about? And also, what it made me realize is that a lot of people that are practitioners of the Western occult tradition in the mystery school lineages, they have forgotten that in the Eleusinian mysteries and all of the other mysteries before that, the kykeon and other psychoactive beverages were served, and the people that drank those beverages were considered the apoptiae, the inner circle. And to this day, there's still an outer order and an inner order in all of these fraternities. But most of them have literally forgotten that it was because the people that have had psychedelics are considered to be in a different tier, and that's what the inner circle is supposed to be. So, I was kind of like, dude, I don't think I'm going to pay my lodge dues next week. So, what I'm saying is that once you have really, really gotten this stuff down to the point where it's super fluid, then you can start adding moderate doses of psychedelics. And the benefit of that is that when you have constructed this energetic state, this awareness, this manifestation that you intend to live in and exist in, your brain being in a heightened state of neurogenesis and neuroplasticity will be imprinted much more rapidly with those states that you have chosen as your allies. So that is definitely, in my world, that is a step in this process. But you have to wait until you have absolute control over it. You know, you have to really know the rituals inside and out, and you also have to be able to navigate a psychedelic state with absolute concision and clarity. You know, for some people, it's easier than others, I've noticed. And I wonder if, while we're on the subject, if it's not true that not all people can become shamans, you know, or magicians even. And that's fine. It's not a qualitative judgment. It's just that, you know, someone may imagine himself to be a painter when he is really intended to be a doctor, in which case he'll be a terrible painter, you know. So I've noticed that some people, when they take psychedelics, can't think straight, and other people, there's no loss of conceptual continuity at all. So, you know, this advice may not hold true or be applicable to every single person. I can only speak really from my own experience. I'm not sure what you mean, Mr. Risen. That's, yeah, if you think you got Riz, dude, you need to come down here and have some like Riz competitions with these Latina women. They're terrifying in their Riz aptitude. Like they have like infinite Riz tractor beams and shit that they'll lock onto you, and like you don't know how to think anymore. You can't you don't know what they're saying. Like you're just kind of like, it's like in a cartoon when somebody gets hit over the head with a cinder block and there's like birds flying around. They don't know what the fuck is going on. It's exactly like that. Even if they're not attractive, it doesn't even matter. Once they turn on the Riz beam, you know, you might not even like be attracted to them, but you're still not, if you're a man, you're not going to know what the fuck you're doing, is what I'm saying. You know, it doesn't necessarily seduce you, but you definitely don't know what the fuck is happening. You know, it's like being hypnotized or something. It's crazy. And I wonder if it has that same effect on Latin men, or if they just are used to it. So it's like not, you know, they have like some kind of natural immunity and they can actually walk away from it and like maintain their focus and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's way off subject, but I'll tell you a story. The other day I was at a club in Cusco. The music was amazing, and there was a girl at the next table, and she was like, probably a 4, maybe. And then she just turned around and turned on her Riz beam, and I was just, like I was just saying, it's like I didn't know what the fuck I was thinking anymore all of a sudden, you know. And most of them can do that, I think. It's pretty wild. You know what it is, though? If you guys want to know the secret to being like really seductive and attractive, be uncomplicated and authentic. That's what I've realized. That's what it really is. You know, people that are just like really natural, they're the ones that really have the Riz rocket, the nuclear Riz rocket. You know, and that's another thing that I have neglected because of personal reasons. You know, I was raised by a sexual abuse victim. And so from the time I was like 4 years old, I was hearing that men were pigs, and basically like I had it in my head that if you were even like attracted to a woman, you were a piece of shit. You know, that's like what I was hearing over and over and over again my whole life. So slowly but surely, I've had to realize that I was very repressed. And I've had to come to the realization that for someone to say, you know, enjoy all things of lust and rapture and fear not that any God will deny thee for this, and then be all sexually repressed is just hurt and fucking stupid and not acceptable. So I think sex magic is on the agenda finally. It's something that it has obvious utility, and I understand it. I've studied it. I've studied everything, everything I can get my hands on, everything I can find that relates to any of this stuff, and it makes the most sense. And yet, I have given it almost not no energy, but almost no energy. So I guess at some point I'll have some kind of insights in regards to what that's all about. But I can tell you now, basically the concept, in case you're unfamiliar, it's basically about edging with a mutual intention for as long as possible. That's, and then there's also a different version where you are trying to use ecstasy to completely tear down the filters between the conscious mind and the universal mind. So Crowley, for example, would have 4 women tag teaming in and out for 3 or 4 days without sleep, just completely just ravaging him nonstop and relentlessly, no matter what, for days. And that ultimately leads to some sort of version of samadhi or satori or something. But the difference is that this energy is not just used for experiential gnosis. It's actually employed, deployed. You have objectives, things that you're trying to, cause change in conformity with will. So, taking applications. Oh, yeah, she said, is there orgy sex magic? As I was talking about orgy sex magic, I think. I definitely have no riz. Well, if you have no riz, it's because you are self-conscious. That's it. If you can learn to be comfortable in your own skin, what you have to understand is that we live in a universe of infinite variety, right? So, a lot of right-wingers don't like to hear this shit, and I do agree we shouldn't be chopping up kids and stuff, but, masculinity, femininity is obviously on a spectrum. There is a fulfillment of every possibility along the entire spectrum. So there are men that are 100% masculine, and there are men that are 0% masculine, and every fucking, degree along the entire scale is fulfilled by someone. And vice versa with women, it's the same thing. So there is a person that is attracted to everything along that spectrum. So if you try to tell yourself that you just don't have some quality that makes people attracted, there's somebody that responds to literally everything possible. So you can't lie to yourself if you know that. Stop lying to yourself. You fall into the spectrum of attractiveness at the absolute top to someone. That's a fact. So what you have to do is be comfortable enough in your own skin to express your fundamental nature. And you'll probably find that your riz that you don't believe exists is irresistible to at least someone, if not many someones. That I used to do that to myself, and that's what I eventually discovered, that if I just allowed myself to be my unguarded, natural, sweet, all these things that I felt like I had to hide, I guess, in order to protect myself because I came from a, redneck, white trash, dangerous environment. That, it was actually that I was hiding myself that was making me unattractive, not that I was unattractive. So that's the secret, really. What do you mean dumb? What is he talking about? That sexual ecstasy for days on end is not going to elevate your consciousness? If you think that's dumb, you might want to try it and then get back with me on that one. definitely asceticism and self-denial and all that shit is not holy. That's not like, I mean, one of the things that we have to do to escape from the shadowy specter of history and ensure that it is the mushroom cloud of Terence McKenna and Timothy Leary at the end of time. All right. Coming from you, I didn't think that would be, to ensure that the mushroom cloud at the end of history is that of Leary and McKenna and not Oppenheimer. We have to shed our ideas about religion and spirituality to a large extent. I could be wrong, I guess, but I feel like even a lot of most of the modern conceptualizations of what it means to be spiritual and shit, it's all a shell game. Most of it is just more limitations, more propaganda, whether it's just a matter of convenience or actual conspiracy. I don't really know. But I do know that a lot of the things that people believe are exactly the opposite of the truth, and that circumstance is engineered. It's definitely engineered. It's definitely social engineering. By the way, you guys, please hit the like button, share, subscribe. We're demonetized, so if you don't support me, I get no support. So joining the Patreon is really great because then I can rely on you every month, and you get access to our secret streams, which are the best content that I provide. Otherwise, there are options to support us in the chat, and we really do appreciate it. And I really will quit if I don't get paid ever. That never happens, but if, you guys got to be cool and keep the boat afloat. I mean, I'm trying to be funny. I don't know how it's coming off, though. See, that's the thing. I don't think you do have no riz. You just have innate riz, and you don't know how to use it, or you don't care to use it. But I'm telling you, it's there. Everyone has it. I'm scared to try to, deliberately, like giving people, weird looks and stuff. I just can't. It's I'm a very boring white bread type when it comes to all that. But I'm trying to get over it, I guess, is a weird age to do that. When should we go live together? I don't know, whenever we want to, I guess. By the way, you guys, feel free to just keep popping questions and subjects and stuff into the chat, and I'll keep going. I feel like I need water pretty badly, probably. I'm starting to slump over. There was something I was starting to talk about earlier, though, that so this program that I'm trying to come up with, and I want to get some people from the community to do it with me at no cost to you. I mean, you got to buy your own stuff and whatnot, but so the magical regimen includes, lesser banishing ritual, invoking in the morning, banishing at night, dream journal every day when you wake up, immediately, right away, the first thing you do. I mean, you're groggy, whatever, not after your coffee, right as soon as you wake up. Dates, everything. And one of the great uses of this, actually, I was talking to a client this morning, friend and client, about this. And he actually, what I say is that the pattern recognition is what causes precognition. And when you keep track of your dreams by actually recording them, you can have certainty when they're, you don't just have this foggy recollection. Did I dream this, or am I imagining that? You know what I mean? You have a written record, and he's actually experienced that, the dreams happening. So that's part of it. And then there's a dietary protocol that is basically the Mediterranean diet on steroids. So more protein, more meat, but also lots of nuts and berries and raw food and seaweed. I ate a big pile of seaweed earlier. Duck eggs, if you're going to eat eggs, the more fat in the eggs, the better. I'm not going to go through all the details now, but then a certain level of exercise every week is required, certain types of exercise, and then I'm hoping that we can get a group of people that are all really actually committed to doing this, and then document it all and see what kind of transformation we experience over the course of an entire year of this grueling fucking protocol. And it will also include a commitment to flow state activities. And for those of you that don't know my philosophy regarding this, I was trying to figure out why it is that I seem to have this sort of uncanny knack for the metaphysical, and why, everyone I've known, in every country I've been in, every state, I'm not trying to boast. It's just what it is, what it is. I mean, people always tell me that the number of synchronicities and just weird things that happen around me are not normal. And so I was trying to understand, like, why would that be if it's true, And what the conclusion that I reached was that I had integrated macro level flow state triggers. So instead of flow state being something that you experience while you're playing guitar or BMX freestyling or whatever it is, I had like engineered my life around it. So a lot of risk in my lifestyle, always focused on one thing, like I'm always thinking about metaphysics and this whole, it's not exactly metaphysics, but it's like this, mission or whatever, I'm like single-mindedly focused on that. So concentration is another flow state trigger, and so on and on. And instead of these things being like micro triggers, my life, I intuitively constructed my life around them. So that's another aspect of this to, if you're not already doing that, to learn how to engineer your life so that your entire life is flow state, not just fleeting moments. I missed the notification. Yeah, I hear that all the time, man. It really gets on my nerves. Last night, the music stream only got 67 views. I've got 11,000 subscribers. Like, what the fuck, They do not like me. They don't like me because I tell people to think for themselves and to question every narrative. Another thing I can tell you guys, if you're trying to liberate your mind from the matrix and you're struggling to, or even if you think you have, you might not have, because a lot of the alternative narratives are propaganda. If you really think about it, do they really need to flood the sheep with propaganda? Or the people that are on the outskirts, the fringe people? Yeah, exactly. So all these alternative narratives, people think that they're, exposing the man and they're taking down the establishment and shit. You're all just parroting exactly what they want you to say, So you got to really, really analyze and think about. Always ask key bono, who benefits. Should stream that on Twitch. What, music? Yeah, I almost bought the multi-streaming platform thing for StreamYards today. I'm worried my computer is not, like, it's supposed to be really fast, but I think I got a refurbished one on accident and it's not like up to speed. Like they ripped me off or something. So I'm worried I'm going to pay for it and then my hardware is not going to be able to support it. So that's why I haven't done it yet. But you're right, I should be streaming to, now you can also stream to TikTok, which would be good. So I think multi-platform streaming would be the thing, but I just cannot afford to buy a new laptop right now, and I don't know if this piece of junk can handle it. So join the Patreon. There are options to support in the chat. We're definitely in AMA mode now because I... What do you mean I'm offline? I'm not offline. There you go, guys. There's all of the options for contributing. Help me get to the Temple of the Sun so I can go make an epic video about it. I'm sure. I mean, the woman was like, it's the best. The local expert author, Lady Camille. Oh my God, she just told me again how to say her last name today. Sauvé, I think. Sauvé. And if I have it wrong again, she's gonna be like, "What the hell? You called me 3 times." Webcam froze? No, it's not. It's moving. I can see it. But anyways, she said it's better than Machu Picchu, and it's like right down the street, but it's kind of expensive to get in there. So, with all of my struggles lately, it's tough to try to budget stuff like that. But it sounds badass, and I really want to go. I went to the Temple of Luna. Now I got to balance it out by going to the Temple of the Sun. So if you're not a patron, you're a punk ass. Oh no. Dude, why does it keep doing this? Just a second, guys. I don't know why this is happening. See what I mean about not wanting to get the StreamYard and then trying to stream on multiple platforms? It's just, I just updated everything today. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it's good now. All right, so webcam. I also have been putting off drinking ayahuasca because I felt like was too sad from splitting up with my partner, and like all this stuff was just too much. But then I realized that I shouldn't have been a pussy and I should have done it right away. So I am about to brew again and drink, and so soon I will let you guys know how that went. I might even take it up to the ruins and try that. Yeah, I will do that. I will do that. I will. I'll take a bottle up to the ruins at night. Yikes! By myself. Ugh. Hold on, I can fix it. Should be fixed now. Right? Right. Good. I subbed for this unacceptable. Ever mixed ayahuasca with brumanzia? No. I have taken brumanzia, and I have had ayahuasca with chiricsananga, which is the tropane alkaloids, but it's much more mild. In the tradition, it's still choppy? No, it's not. It is not. You're lying. In the tradition that I was taught, vomiting is desirable, and so it's not choppy anymore. Anyways, dude, subbed. I mean, you can say it's unacceptable if you're a patron, but I don't get paid for this from YouTube. It's not choppy, dude. You're lying. Liar. Weird interactions occur, I would assume. Yeah, it's not a good idea. I mean, generally, I would say it's not a good idea. It's, I mean, I have taken a very large dose of brumanzia, of Toei. I mean, no, not very large. Large enough that I didn't know whether I was awake or asleep. And it's true. What they say about the true hallucinations that are caused by tropane alkaloids, that's one reason I wouldn't mix it with ayahuasca. I mean, it's very easy to get lost and lose your mind. And sometimes you can stay crazy for days. You know, one day I was walking around in my neighborhood in the jungle, and this Quechua shaman told me the story about these two French guys that came, and I think I misunderstood him. I thought he said that they had cocaine and they mixed it with some Toei, with the inner pith of the stalk. So the flowers aren't very dangerous. They're not very strong. 2 flowers for me is like not that big of a deal. I'm definitely not going to have any like real hallucinations or anything like that. It's just for insomnia. You know, 2 flowers for insomnia. You might kind of see a little bit double vision, but it's not that crazy. The leaves are a little bit stronger than the flowers, although the flowers have the most, how would you say, like the greatest quantity of different alkaloids in them. They don't have they're not the strongest, part. But then the pith in the stalk is what's dangerous and strong. So I've never touched it, honestly. But they said they took the pith and they mixed it with cocaine and they ran around naked in the jungle for 3 days before they came back to their senses. And sometimes people don't ever come back to their senses. And they say that the only way to get them out is for someone to drink it and then to go in there with them to recover them, which is risky business. So the seeds are also pretty strong, but if you just put like 3 of them in a cup of ayahuasca or something, or eat 3 of them before you drink ayahuasca, you won't vomit. It won't do anything other than that. It's just, sometimes it's nice to have ayahuasca without the purging, but just like 3 seeds is all. What was I going to say about that? You guys know about the zombie phenomena? Like what that really is? Do you? Bet you don't. So zombies are a Haitian phenomena, and there was a guy by the name of Robert Schultes. He was a professor at Harvard that kept a bucket of peyote buttons by his front door, and the kids could eat them and write a paper to get extra credit in like the 1940s. And so he got lost in the jungle for like 12 years. There's a book called One River that I would recommend anybody should read about that guy. The blue orchid he discovered, the world's tiniest orchid, and he found a plateau where 99% of all of the plants contained psychedelic compounds. Just wild guy, and probably made us aware of ayahuasca, really. Although Sir Walter Raleigh did write about an encounter with a shaman that was drinking ayahuasca in like the 1700s in his journal, where the shaman said, "I can know anything when I drink the vine." And so he said, "Tell me something that you couldn't know." And the shaman said, "Your sister is dead." And it turned out his sister had died 3 days before. So that's our earliest record of ayahuasca that I'm aware of, is that encounter and Sir Walter Raleigh's. And the alkaloids in ayahuasca, telepamine, telepatine, up until, the zombies. Okay, so Richard Evans Schultes had a student named Wade Davis. And there's a really stupid Hollywood movie called The Serpent and the Rainbow, based on the actual book that's a true story, but the Hollywood version is really just retarded. Awful movie. And so Wade Davis heard about the zombies in Haiti, and he went down there to see what was hood. And what was hood is that the plantation owners were hiring brujas, like Haitian or voodoo sorcerers, to create slaves for them, zombie slaves. And so the way that this is done is deterrus metalloides. I don't even really know how to say it. Datura metalloides, I think. Or stramonium probably is fine too, or whatever, just datura. Seeds are ground up and mixed with pufferfish venom and some other stuff, and then somehow concentrated, so it's so strong that it's topically active, and they could just throw it on your doorstep and everyone goes around barefoot. And so if you absorb enough of this stuff, then you will appear to be dead, but you're not, and then they'll bury you, and the witch doctor can give you the antidote. And depending on whether he leaves you in the state for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, or 10 days, you'll have various levels of brain damage. But scopolamine is used to increase suggestibility. So down here, prostitutes often will blow it in your face, and then you'll do whatever they tell you to do. Or somebody will ask you, like, "Can you read that?" Like it's a little tiny, like writing on a piece of paper, phone number, and they'll go and blow it in your face, and it can kill you. But if it doesn't, then they can just say, "Take me to your house and give me your life savings," and you'll do it. So this prolonged exposure to scopolamine and the atropine actually kind of makes the heart appear to be not, it's like very faint. which is weird because it's used in hospitals to restart your heart. And scopolamine, by the way, is also motion sickness medicine. But anyways, they bury you for however long, and depending on how long you remain buried before they give you the antidote, determines how brain dead you are, and then you're a zombie, and they just can tell you what to do, you know? So you can be a zombie sex slave, or you can be a zombie plantation worker, and there's no cure, and there are videos of these people on YouTube. So that's what zombies are real. That's how they're made. In fact, for just $9.99, I can send you a small packet of... No, I can't do that. I wouldn't do that. I don't know how similar diphenhydramine is to tropane. Probably not much. But yeah, dude, I've heard Benadryl tripping is a really bad idea. I don't know why you did that. Look at this, 180 views in the shorts feed and only 3 likes. Is this stream that bad? Why is it that people in the shorts feed are just like such dicks compared to the people in the other feed? All right, guys, I'm going to get some water, and this is an opportunity for you to put any kind of questions or topics in the chat that you would like. And then if nobody does that, I might just see if Athena wants to go live together or something, and then you can all join us there, and there'll be more of us. Or maybe we should go over to Discord. We can all talk at once or something. I don't think I'm going to let people into the Discord conversations that aren't patrons, though. Yeah, it's true. The better the info, the more suppressed the stream. I'm going to go ahead and go with that. See, a bunch of people hit like in the horizontal feed, but it's still just 1 like in the 4. Ha, 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 ha. Way to go, whoever that was. Now we're crushing. Now we're fucking crushing. Anyways, yeah, I got to get water, and I'll be back. Okay, so heard of the canosaby with Yep, sure have. Put it in a video. The bog canosaby. The weird thing is, the only reference I've seen to it having amanita toxins and psilocybin and psilocin is in the Autobahn field guide to mushrooms. Oh, I see Miss Athena is in both chats, fishing for questions. I would not eat that. I don't know. My friend came here and he brought some of those, and we were supposed to eat them, but then his wife got sick or something and he had to leave. So I don't know. I mean, Amanita muscaria is a deliriant. It's not an indole ring psychedelic. So I don't know if I would really suggest consuming it. I know there are people that swear that it's like, amazing therapeutic thing, but I think of it as like Vikings going berserker and cutting boobs off and stuff. I mean, it's not like traditionally it was used for like warfare and stuff, and just intoxication in the same kind of way that alcohol was used. I mean, people would like feed it to reindeers and then drink their piss because the reindeer would filter the toxins out and it was like less poisonous. And I'm saying, man, if you got to do that with something, or in the Songus tribe would filter the mushroom through the warriors and then everyone would drink it. Have I seen the dog? Oh, you mean the angel dog? No, I don't live there. I mean, I live an hour away. I do know that the dog is fine. You know, it's a street dog, but people feed it and stuff. So, you know, it's kosher. All right. Well, it appears that we are winding down in energy. I'm not seeing a lot of questions or topics anyone's putting out there. So this is the end. Dun, 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 my only friend, the end. I was thinking about switching to music, but I don't know, man. I think I might be too tired for that. So do we have any Discord, Mr. Rizzle? Mr. Risen? Yeah, this is degenerating into just absolute lunacy. So, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, consider joining our Patreon or making some multi-million-dollar contribution to PayPal, Zelle, and all of our cryptocurrency addresses, actually every single one of them. That would be the best. That would be the grooviest. That would be the hippest, man. So what is our plan now? We're going somewhere else to get up to different kinds of shenanigans? All right. Good night, everyone. I hope this was of some use to you. It wasn't as long. Sometimes I talk for like 4.5 hours. I can't believe that. You know, when I see, like, I feel so tired and I feel like I've said so much and it's only been an hour and a half. How the hell do those 5-hour streams happen? I don't know, man. Anyways, thank you guys so much. And if peoples want to join me on my insane mission to transform into an ipsissimus. Oh, no, I had it tonight. I'm just out of it. I did not have it. I'm just done with it. It left. So thank you guys again, all of you, so much. And then it's only 10 o'clock, so probably see you guys in some other context, either with a guitar strapped to me dildo, or me dildo strapped to me guitar, or in the Discord or something. Peace.